gyroscopes that you can go and verify for yourself. We've got airplane shape of applied gyroscopes, missile planes. If you Google what missile planes are, they admit that over half the seafloor is flat. So I don't know how the Earth can be bald, but also have half the seafloor being flat. We've got things like the second law of thermodynamics, gas laws. These things all coincide with the flat Earth. Our position is that we live on the left topographical plane. We're enclosed. We don't move. We're stationary, and the luminaries move above us east to west around the forest.
There we go. So we would love to hear your best globe proofs. Because we live on a fall, it's 2025, there should be proof. I offer 3 Bitcoin for anybody that can come up with one proof for the globe. Just one. Should be easy. We live on a globe. Should be easy. Now, you've been taught your entire life that the Earth is a globe. From before you can even talk, your parents probably put a mobile over your crib with planets on it, with NASA pajamas, Sesame Street had astronauts on it, globes in your kindergarten class, and every movie is talking about space now. So it's hard to understand what flat Earth is, and I'm sure that your concept of it is incorrect. So we're looking for globe proofs. Should be easy. Anybody?
Okay, well let's open up the release, get it started.
Speak loud.
Like, see, like the concept like 4 and like a 6. So how does gravity work exactly?
Okay, well, for starters, gravity has never been isolated in nuclear or verified for scientific experiment, and there's like 4 different versions of gravity because none of them work according to the heliocentric paradigm. Now, what gravity is, I guess, is basically buoyancy density and electrostatics. So if I left all the helium, it's not an anti-gravity device, it's just no state for the air, so it's equilibrium after. If I get a rock and drop that, it's going to go down. It's equilibrium down because it's more dense than the medium. If I drop a rock in water, it's going to go through the water, it's more dense than the water. But if I get an apple, throw that in the water, it's going to float on the water because now the medium of the water is more dense than the apple. Right, so we have an electrostatic gradient constantly discharging to the Earth down because the atmosphere is positively charged and the ground is negatively charged provably. So that creates a current always going down. And the force of density and buoyancy supersedes that term in directionality. You can look up with, it's called Archimedes' principle or the law of displacement.
So here's this is a drone made by MIT where they're literally just changing the electrostatic potential of this, and it flies. It's got no moving parts. So we're changing the electrostatic field, and it lifts and propels itself. The XRT-3B triangular military aircraft, they admit that it uses electrostatics to fly, right? Why don't we have cars that do that? We should, because there's no moving parts. It's just an electrostatic difference. The Earth has a negative charge. The sky has a positive charge. Anything above the Earth is surrounded by that positive charge, and its buoyancy, its density will dictate which way it goes, up or down. So that's that. Next question.
So you're saying that there's no gravity, that instead there's electrostatics that basically do perform a similar role.
Well, let's I won't say there's no gravity. There's no proof of gravity. Gravity is just a theory. When they try to measure it out in the solar system, they're like, hey, 96% of it's missing. So they go, oh, we'll just make up dark matter and dark energy to fill up that space because it has to be. So if I borrowed $100 from you yesterday and I take you back 4 today and I go, we're even, you go, no, you owe me 100. I'm like, oh, no, there's 96 dark dollars. Don't worry about it. Trust me, bro. They're there. That's literally what science is telling us. Trust me, bro. The dark energy is there. But electrostatics can be manipulated, can be scientifically looked at. Flat earthers love science, right? I'll just show my balloon thing again because it showed us the other classes. These helium balloons are just levitating this about 2 inches above the floor. This wire goes to a Van der Graaf generator, and we're going to just introduce a higher positive charge to the button at the end of the wire there. And so when we add the charge, did we change gravity or did we change the electrostatic attraction to the Earth, right? And then when we discharge it, opposite by putting a negative charge into something, and we do, it goes up. So the negative, will repel another negative. Sometimes when lightning strikes next to somebody, they go flying through the air. Did gravity stop? Or did the electric charge of the earth switch to positive for a split second and send the person ejecting them off the earth? So again, electrostatics is scientifically provable. Gravity is just a debunked theory.
Thank you. Other questions for Trace?
So when you say airplane trips on Monday, it's like 7 hours, but if you're going against like the Earth's rotation, but when you come back, it's quicker. So like, how does that? It's like a shorter flight. How does that make? Why do you think that's not real?
Well, the thing is, airplane and aviation, airplanes for starters, they don't take into account Earth rotation or curvature ever. And it's quite funny because the Earth is allegedly spinning 1,037 miles an hour the equator east, right? So if we put a plane flying 500 miles an hour east, going the same direction as the Earth is spinning, well, the claim is that the plane shifts up. It doesn't lag behind. It doesn't move backwards because the air is also moving with the Earth at 1,037 miles an hour. Well, there's a huge problem because if we go against the rotation of the Earth, where the wind is moving this way against it, the plane doesn't experience 1,000-mile Henry. So planes and pilots that are debated, many of them always prove it's flat because they have to assume the Earth is flat and stationary when they fly. They do not ever take into account Earth rotation or curvature ever. And the fact that the plane works proves it's flat because
Yeah. So this is New Zealand. So Angel's right around the corner in Australia, and then this is Argentina in South America. So if somebody wants to go from New Zealand to Argentina, FlightAware says this is the Great Circle route. This would be the fastest route on the globe. Doesn't look that far. Pretty snazzy. Except that the flight goes from New Zealand across the equator to San Francisco, then across America to Texas, and then all the way back down to Argentina. And why would it do that crazy route? Now this is with three connections or two connections. And the answer is because New Zealand, San Francisco, Houston, and Argentina are in a straight line. And once you understand that's how planes fly, straight level over the Earth plane, here it is going from Wellington to Los Angeles and then down to Lima, Peru. Why didn't they just cut across here? It looks like about the same distance on the globe. Look at it on a flat Earth map, pretty much a straight line. Just stop here for some alleged fuel, and then here. So there's all sorts of flights like that absolutely prove. And what proves it even more is emergency landing. There's been there's numerous emergency landings where a flight has to land. Excuse me. Flight has to land because some emergency, someone dies or whatever, and right? But if we look at it on a flat Earth map, here's a zoom in: New York, Fiji, New Zealand. They were right here when the emergency happened, right? The globe doesn't ever line up, right? This is a bad one here. This one, 12-hour flight. They're actually going to the UK, but they ended up stopping in Germany 12 hours later because 4 hours into the flight, mother died traveling with her whole. Well, they could have landed at 100 different airports along this way, but they didn't. They waited until they got to Germany. Now, why is that? Why would they do that? They'll land for somebody having a bad stomach ache, right? So Hong Kong, 4 hours into the flight, they were over Russia. So if they landed in Russia, that would be rock solid proof that, why did they land in Russia? And then we'd be like, we'll show you why. So they couldn't land in Russia, right? And so they stopped and went all the way to first. At that point, why did they just go to London? Why didn't they just finish it, right? But they were over Russia. So there's multiple examples of this happening, and every time they stop, it's because they're over a point that is on their actual route, right? New York to Hawaii, emergency. They went to Seattle, 1,000 miles out of the way. They got there in like 10 minutes too. Like, how did that happen, right? But if you look at it, New York, Seattle's right on their trip, right there, again and again and again. I don't know how many things that we need to show that don't work on a globe make perfect sense on a flat earth. Next. Logan.
So I guess I'm just confused. If they were going in a straight line because of the flat Earth, why are you saying they didn't stop in Russia? Is it because that would prove it was a flat Earth? So
Yeah, if they landed in Russia, two things would happen. One, Russia would probably be very helpful and very sympathetic, and that could spark world peace. Can't have that. And the other one is we'd be able to say, why are you over Russia? And we'd be able to prove that the Earth is flat. Okay. Jacob.
What got you started with the flat Earth like realist, or where did you start with this? So for me, it was about 3 years ago, and a friend of mine told me about it because I was studying the Bible, and then he told me the Bible's a geocentric flat Earth book, and I looked into that, and I was like, "There's no way." And then I started looking into the flat Earth debates, right? And I was like, "Wow, okay." There was a specific debate I watched. It was three famous globies versus three famous flat Earthers, and as I was watching, I was like, "Geez, but these flat Earthers are destroying these people." Right, and then I basically wanted to get into this subject to debate for it, which I do on my TikTok. Yeah, so it was very interesting. Basically, for me, it was just evidences upon evidences piling up for the flat Earth, and everything on the globe side was just going down and down and down until eventually I was like, well, shit, I'm a flat Earth, I can't, like, there's no evidence of the globe.
Let me show you guys something that is a proof that you guys aren't going to know about because you never thought about the Georgia Guidestones in school. Did anyone here ever hear about the Georgia Guidestones in Georgia? Anybody? Right? In 1981, this mysterious monument went up. It had 10 commandments on it in 10 different languages. And that's a whole nother story. But in the center stone, there was this little straw hole, a size of a drinking straw, and you look through it, and you can see Polaris. Polaris is our North Star, and it doesn't move, right? We're twirling and whirling through space, traveling 4.5 billion miles a year, going 186 million miles from one side of the sun to the other, but Polaris never moves because it's so far away. That's what they tell us, right? We do a time lapse, and we can see Polaris through the hole. Well, they also tell us that the Earth is a 26,000-year wobble, where the North Pole is migrating around like that, and every 76 years it moves 1 degree. Well, that doesn't sound like a lot, but 1 degree is like 2 to 3 moon widths, full moon widths in the sky. Side by side, that would be 1 degree. And it was up for over 40 years. We're like, okay, it's a minimum of 1 moon width out of that hole, which is huge. But we look, it's still there. So we made some videos, and they started going viral. They started going super viral. Everyone's like, whoa, this is rock solid evidence. And then out of nowhere, a terrorist blew up the Georgia Guidestone. 3 hours later, the entire thing was bulldozed. The time capsule was stolen, and there was no investigation. They hide the truth from you guys because they want to keep you as corporate slaves. You guys have spent 15 years in this indoctrination system, except for this class, of course, he's teaching you the free thing. And now all you're qualified to do is take a loan to go to college and get more indoctrination, right? You need to start using your God-given common senses and not believing what you're told. Don't believe anything we're telling you either. Verify everything. Hey, everybody, a quick message that I'd like to share with all of you. Our lives are filled with toxins in our air, food, and even in the information we're taught. Avoiding them all is impossible, but helping your body detox doesn't have to be complicated. That's where Masterpiece comes in. Just 5 drops under your tongue twice a day, and that's it. Super easy, super simple, and it doesn't even taste bad. I've tried countless supplements, and while generally I'm pretty healthy, I didn't really feel much of an effect. But with Masterpiece, it delivers noticeable benefits. Check out the podcast I did with Terry from Masterpiece, link below this video. You can find links directly to Masterpiece on my website, buttercase.com, or in the shopping section on the app. The key to health is to detoxify. Now back to the show.
Thank you. Yeah, I see Trace. Are there other folks out there? I want to make sure everybody gets a chance to ask questions.
How do different time zones work in the flat Earth?
So right now, here's the sun. Wherever the sun is, it's noon. So we live on a 24-hour sky clock. All watches, the finest switch watches, are set to the sky clock because that's where time comes from. So it's noon right here. So you guys are somewhere here on the East Coast. Well, guess what? It's just after noon, and you can see that because we're on the hour hand. And then as the sun goes, it'll go away. And if I turn on the time zone so you can actually see where the other time zones are, you'll see that they all move away. So it's just 1 hour per zone. Over here is the opposite of here. So it's midnight over here when it's noon over here. Time zones only work on a flat Earth because there would be 24-hour time zones, 24 time zones, except there's not. There's 19 in the north, 24 between the tropics, and 32 in the south, which does not work on a globe. But this is reality. This is how many time zones there are, but you're not taught this in school. Why did they leave this out? Why did they teach you this?
We got a couple of hands up here, Trace and then Jacob.
So the time zones, isn't it like a small Earth that like navigate the stars? No, it's called there's a system you get an accident.
Well, I don't understand the question.
So Trace, what is the question?
Yeah, I still can't hear you. You're loud enough.
So I think the question is if there are places on Earth that never get dark,
Yeah.
would that refute what you said?
No, actually,
there is places on Earth that don't get dark in the north. So when the sun is on the Tropic of Cancer in the north, it's doing a smaller circle.
Yeah,
it's doing a smaller circle and slowing down, and people see the 24-hour sun in the north. So yeah, there are parts of the Earth where the sun never sets.
so I'm showing here this. I'm going to get it to April, May, June. So in June, the sun is in here, and there's areas in the north that it'll never get dark. It'll never get dark, and then when we go all the way out, when it goes out to the Tropic of Capricorn out here, come on, wow, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. When it goes out here, there's spots in the north that sunlight will never get to because it never gets close enough. There you go. Next.
All right, so Jacob and Johnson.
So, how do you make sense of solar eclipse then?
Well, it's very easy. The moon moves in front of the sun, just the same as it does on a heliocentric model, except the moon, you'll never see the actual physical moon silhouette going in front of the sun. And also, there's major problems with it because the moon is claimed to be 2,160 miles in diameter, which is like almost as wide as America. But the shadow that it casts is like only a couple hundred miles wide. So I challenge you, go outside when you use the sun, you cast a shadow with an object and have that object's shadow be way smaller than the object. It won't happen.
Won't happen. And whenever we see an eclipse, it sure looks like a circular object is eclipsing it, but no one has ever seen the moon approach, eclipse, or exit the face of the sun. We just see, I say, missing the sun. Now, in my app in the eclipse section, I have one theory, and I made a model showing that the eclipse could happen where the moon is behind the sun. So I'm making the eclipse here, projected on a sheet, and this is an actual eclipse filming. I'm trying not to take in much time here. During an eclipse, we saw this little thing here. Like, what is that? Not the lens flare. This one right here that's locked to the sun. Right. This is an eclipse that's like 85% right now. It's just blowing out the camera. You can't really see it. So I modeled it with my rear projection sun. So I'll show you. I got my sun being projected. I'm eclipsing it with this little circle cap, and this is what we see. This is what we see. You never see the moon. You just see the eclipse. Right. So then I did it with thinner paper. I'm doing the same thing. Here comes my eclipse coming in. And look, right here, we see the same thing that we saw in that video. That's looking through the sky. actual eclipse. Again, the lights in the sky, we don't need them to prove the shape of the Earth.
But also, the moon, when it goes in totality, right in the center of the sun, it will hit a pause. It will stop there. Now, that's either the Earth suddenly stops spinning in the globe paradigm, or the moon suddenly just stops, which is impossible both ways.
Right. If the moon is going in front of the sun in the heliocentric paradigm, it would just move steady. It wouldn't go, stop, and then go again.
Jacob has a follow-up comment, and then we'll go to Jocelyn. Jacob.
So with your whole theory, the ether and the light were blocking it, not the actual moon. Are you saying that we have something that's big enough to actually block the entire sun from everyone seeing it? And also, during the solar eclipse, it doesn't just stop; it's just moving past it.
No, it stops. It actually stops. And sometimes during a lunar eclipse, is it a lunar eclipse? Was it solar eclipse or lunar eclipse where it turned? It was a lunar eclipse, right?
Yeah, lunar.
The lunar eclipse, the shadow came in and then it took a right hand turn and went out. Like what happened there? But again, when you say as big as the sun, you know how big the sun is in your paradigm? It's 860,000 miles across. I don't think it's that big. I think it's much smaller, just like in that balloon shot I showed you.
Our claim is, right, that the sun and moon are the same size, because that's how we see them. They appear to be the same size. The heliocentric paradigm claims that the sun is 400 times further away and 400 times bigger, so that they appear the same size, and they eclipse like two clean-cut coins, just by coincidence.
Jocelyn?
I would just go back to time zones and the sun clock. At what point does the sun jump in and out between the different spots that it rotates?
It spirals in and out. It takes 6 months to go from Cancer to Capricorn. So each circle gets a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger until December 21st, where it pauses for 3 days and then it's resurrected again. The sun dies on the 21st and is resurrected 3 days later. Read into that as you may, right? And so then it comes back to the north. 6 months in, 6 months out. The moon does the same thing every 14 days. 14 days in, 14 days out.
And the sun actually speeds up in the south to cover a large distance.
Right.
There's a thing called the lemma which shows that.
So just to clarify then, so you're saying that the sun, you said, dies on the 21st and is resurrected on the 24th of December. Is that, how does that work?
It's kind of a biblical reference because in the Bible, the sun, meaning Jesus died for 3 days and was resurrected, right? Well, the Southern Cross is in the south where the Tropic of Capricorn is, and the sun literally pauses in the sky at the Tropic of Capricorn 3 days and then migrates back to the north. Now, in the globe paradigm, that's pretty funny because that change between the tropics is claimed to be the Earth's orbit. Well, the Earth's orbit doesn't suddenly stop, right? So it doesn't make sense on a globe.
And this is from March, April, May, June, July, August, September. And then the other 6 months is this big loop, kind of like the sun is making a bigger circle and then a smaller circle in the north. Right? This is taking that picture every day at the same time. And you can tell this was taken from the north because this appears higher, but all of these sun positions are the same level because this is farther away, so it looks lower. Now, if Angel took this analemma from where he would see the big circle on the top and the small circle on the bottom. Due to perspective.
All right, other questions here. We got a couple of folks. So Felicity and Madeline.
How does weather play into all this? I feel like we talked about weather has a tie to the Roman gravity.
Particularly maybe tides or something.
Yeah. Okay. Well, basically, tides really are not good for the globe at all because tides are claimed to be caused by the sun and moon. Okay. So there's a thing called the new moon when the sun and moon are on the same side of the Earth, right? So but during the new moon, we still have a big high tide on the other side of the Earth. So if the moon and sun are causing tides, why do we have a huge high tide on the other side of the Earth when the sun and moon are over this side? There's things called tidal nodes, where there are no tides on Earth ever, right? Which doesn't make any sense if the gravity from the sun and moon are pulling bodies of water. It should pull evenly everywhere. And sometimes you get a tide that's 1 meter, sometimes you get it 10 meters. They're really inconsistent. And also, like large lakes don't have tides.
Right.
So it's really weird that it really affects some water.
So they say that this moon, the full moon, pulls, or just the moon itself, wherever it is, it's pulling the water away from the Earth, creating high tide. But the reason this is what your paradigm, they say there's a tide on the other side, is the moon is pulling the Earth away from the water, creating a bulge on the other side. And the reason you don't understand it is not because you're stupid, because it's stupid. There's so many dumb things about the heliocentric model that people just like shut their brains down because they can't figure it out. You can't figure it out because it's stupid. These are the tidal nodes he's talking about, the high tides and low tides. And there's areas of no tide. So it completely separates the moon from the tide cycle. Now, during a full moon, there are higher tides, but the opposite should be true. If it's gravitational during a new moon, the sun and the moon are right next to each other, so there should be huge tides. But when they're opposed to each other with the Earth in the middle, there's bigger tides. That's because the moon is powered up and tides are electrical, partially.
Okay, Madeline, you had a question?
Yeah. What do you think like the edge of the earth then? Because like if it's like how does if it's like ocean, what do they just water fall off? Like what the edge of the flat earth?
So, okay, go ahead, Angel. Go.
So basically, we think that it could be Antarctica being the ice ring that goes around the Earth to contain the water. Because admittedly, Antarctica is the highest elevation continent, right? So if you were to make that into an ice ring that goes around the Earth, right, it would contain all the water. Now, past Antarctica, we have no idea, right? We don't know what's there because there's not Antarctic Treaty. Article 6 of the Antarctic Treaty describes that you can't independently go there and explore past a certain parallel.
Right.
So basically, you can't fall off the edge of a lake like you can't fall off the ocean. But also, the Earth is enclosed, right? So the same reason I can't fall out of my room because I'm enclosed, the Earth is enclosed.
This is a map that was published in early 1900s in a Hawaiian newspaper, and it's found in a Buddhist temple, 10 centuries old. Shows all these other continents out here. So Antarctica would be, this is where the ice would start, and then out here, there's these other continents. What's out there? I don't know. But here's the thing, we're speculating, we don't know what's out there, but there's lots of evidence that there are ships that do go out there. We track ships. We found ships in the center of Antarctica, active ships, hundreds of miles inside of the shoreline of Antarctica. And then when you actually de-globe that, it's basically the ships going into the outer area. So,
yeah, just to follow up, and we talk about Antarctica, why is it unexplored? Why do we know so little about Antarctica?
In 19, go ahead, Angel.
Well, basically, it would be, I mean, if we were really able to go there, we could definitely prove that it's a globe real easily. You could just travel south to pop up the other side of the walls, and you'd prove it's a globe straight away, but we're not allowed to do that. Right? It's an area that would be real easy to prove it's a globe, but we're not allowed to just independently go there and explore.
Right. The Antarctic Treaty, all of the countries in the world agree, and no one can explore there, and no one's challenging it. Longest standing treaty ever.
Okay. Let's see. Anybody hasn't asked a question? I just want to make sure it's a chance. And audience money, you go.
Yeah. Speak louder. We can't hear you.
Like it's blind to us, like who knows about it? Like the flat earth is like blind to us. Like who's gonna know?
Yeah, so why the lie? That's a good question. And the truth is we're not them, we're not the ones lying. But if you look at the power structure as well, these are the people that we know. the Trilateral Commission, the Institute of International Affairs, Club of Rome, Bilderberg Group, the United Nations, and Council of Foreign Relations. These are mostly unelected people that are literally controlling the world. So where are they getting their marching orders from is a good question. It's weird that all of our leaders go to Antarctica and disappear for a couple days at the weirdest time. And maybe there's the real leaders of our world are living in the land outside of where we're allowed to go.
I mean, in my opinion, I look at it kind of good people putting away because the earth itself, if we actually is true, or if what we're saying is true, and we're inside of a giant terrarium enclosed, then you got to think to yourself, well, okay, what made this terrarium that we're living in? Well, that would be God. But the thing is, God being real means that the adversary is real too. So in my opinion, it's a spiritual war. And the person at the very, very top that's lying to you about these things or made it into a globe is Satan himself. Right? And it's funny that the globe map, right, when you break it down, it all equals 6662, which the tilt of the Earth, 23.4 degrees, when taken from right angle, 66.6 degrees. The circumference of the Earth in nautical miles, 21,600, 6 times 6 times 600. The curvature rate of the Earth, 8 inches per mile squared, 0.666 feet per mile squared. The diameter of the moon, 2,160, 6 times 6 times 60. The north and south latitudes of the Antarctic and Arctic circles is 66.6 degrees south and north. Like, I don't know, I could go on and on. But,
right. And back to the why. They're hiding free energy, they're hiding the creator, they're hiding your spirituality, more land, more resources, scientific knowledge, what's in Antarctica, and the fact that you're special, you're at the center of creation. They're hiding your true divinity, they're hiding your ability, your true maximum potential. They're hiding your ability to think. You can create what you think about. Your life is literally manifest on the way that you think. So they can just put you on a ball and make you think that that's all that there is. They're literally handicapping you. They're taking your mind, which is a great spiritual, connected, powerful thing that didn't come from on scum, after a lightning strike, and they're capping it off like this. Now, you're on a globe, now you can't think outside of the box, outside of the globe. The globe is a box for your mind, right? If you live on their ball field, you have to play by their ball field rules. The truth is, we don't live on their ball field. And once you step off it and face reality, face the fact that you're at the center of creation, doors open up for you. So right now, you guys, you finished your indoctrination or close to it, and now you're probably going to go to college. What I say is, enjoy the experience, but think for yourself. Question everything.
all right, Grady and me, I haven't asked it. Grady?
Sunrise work, because if you're on a flat earth and the sun is above you, shouldn't you be getting sun at every part of the day?
No, I showed the whole way thing there. You got the good image with it. Sure.
Yeah.
So basically, the sun, as it moves above you, right, it's always above you. But as it moves away, it hits the drop due to perspective, just like streetlights in the distance. The ones in the distance appear lower, but they're not actually lower so much.
So here's a hallway. We can tell that this hallway is flat. And here's the water, and the water matches the ramping up of the hallway, right? So I got a boat on the hallway on the floor, and it works the same on the water right there. So it's the same. So this is all perspective. So when I overlay